करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Okay, so as I told you that the whole Gita is Moksha Shastra. Okay, it's not Dharma Shastra. It's not just telling you how to be a good human being, and that's not. Of course, it talks, but that's not an end. It is talking about the freedom that one is searching for, and how the solution to this freedom is knowing one's own nature. Okay, and for knowing that one's own nature, you need to also then to know that big reality about yourself, you need to prepare yourself. It cannot just be gained overnight. Okay. Now, in addition to this whole thing, there is this whole, if you need to know the reality, okay, it's not sufficient for you to know that I am that awareness and I am something which is independent of object of awareness, because what comes in that object category is the whole universe. Okay. You have sun, moon, you have stars, you have galaxies, you have earth. On this earth, so many different species. You have your life, your circumstances, and you have to make sense of it all. So there is this one more question in your pursuit of truth, and that is, what is the cause? How did this whole big world come about? Okay, and the answer to that question is what we say in understanding the cause of the universe. In Sanskrit, you call it Ishvara. Ishvara means the cause of the universe. So the first 6 chapters talked about the nature of I and how you need to gain maturity to understand what is your true nature. The next 7 chapters there is a shift in topic. Okay, and that shift is, it explains the cause of the universe. Okay, that is the whole analysis of what Ishvara is. Okay. So the last 2 verses that we saw, it started talking about what is Ishvara. Okay. An analogy was used saying that Lord Krishna said, I am like a bead, okay, which puts together I am like a string which puts together all the beads. Okay. So now if you use this analogy with reference to the world, what represents the beads? All of us, right? All of us represents the beads. It also, you can take it at so many different levels. The beads could also mean animals, it could mean the plant kingdom, it could mean the stars, it could mean everything, right? So that every object in the universe, right, is connected through this thread. Okay. So what Lord Krishna says, I am that thread. So now think about, like last time we did, what connects you to me? Excellent, right? So what we saw, excellent. So as Rita says, we are both connected through laws of the universe. Do you remember some of the laws of the universe? Gravity, biology, physiology, anatomy, okay, epistemology, psychology, okay, and one of the other things was what? The law of dharma and karma. Okay, so that means nobody can bypass these laws. Okay, just as you can't say, if you need to go out of space, right? Did you want to do an outer space travel? Okay, you need to understand how the gravity works there. You can't afford to say, oh, I don't care, right? You are operating within laws of Ishvara. When you want to find cures for whatever, nowadays there are so many diseases which come up which were even not there. If you want to find cures for those diseases, you need to understand physiology. You can't find solutions outside this order. Okay? So within this order, you spend years and years researching how human body works. Okay? And within that, you need to then see how you can, if there is something which is not in the order, how to bring it back in the order. Okay? So that means you can't just work independently. You can't just use your free will to produce things. You have to learn to work within the laws of Ishvara. Okay? In nothing, you are outside the laws of Ishvara. You want to nourish your body, you have to depend upon the plant kingdom, which gives you all the different vitamins and all the different things. You are never outside it. Think of a life where you are trying to ignore this whole world as just mithya and bypass it. Find one action where you can bypass this mithya world. The very breathing that you have is what? Part of the laws of Ishvara. How this air is given to you and how you have nostril through which you take in that air, okay, and once it enters your body, it becomes prana. It actually nourishes all your organs. Okay. It takes out all the toxins, and then it takes out carbon dioxide. The whole process. Can you be outside that process? Can you say, I want to create my own process? Can you say, oh, it's all mithya, so air is mithya, so therefore I don't care? Okay. This is one of the dangers of learning Vedanta, because what Vedanta says is, Brahman is Satyam, you are the truth. Okay. Awareness, Satchitananda is the truth. The whole Jagat is something which has a dependent reality. Okay. When you make this statement, if you are not ready, you create your own story. This is not what Upanishads are talking. Upanishads are making a statement of fact. It only says that this table has a dependent reality, it depends upon the wood. That is a fact. Okay? But based on this fact, you create your own story. Oh, if it is mithya, it doesn't matter. Who said that? Nobody said that. Okay? Or there I should not pay attention to mithya because it's mithya anyway. And I can bypass mithya because I am only interested in the Satyam. These are all the stories that you make based on what Upanishads are saying. What Upanishad is saying is a statement of fact. And you create your own set of assumptions based on that, which is not the truth. So this is why when we say the world is mithya, is not as simple as, oh, it's mithya, so therefore I can do anything. It's not as simple as that. That is to make the whole teaching very simplistic. In mithya world, all your decisions, your existence is in the relative world. And that whole world is not something which is a random world. Okay? It is what we call manifestation of Ishvara. So that means that if you want to gain the ultimate truth, you first need to align yourself. Exactly. You need to. There is no other way. Okay? Because you have only one buddhi to live in the world and to understand the reality. While living in the world, if you are projecting like anything, that means your buddhi is not cultivated. You create meanings that don't exist. So when you listen to Vedanta, you use the same mind to do what? The same thing. You create meanings that don't exist. That means it will keep on keeping you away from reality. Because you use the information very partially to suit what? What you think. What exactly? What you've already preconceived. So therefore, you keep on trying to reinforce what you think and you ignore all the other things that the teaching is talking about. That's why Gita talks so much about maturity. 70% of the Gita is all about gaining that maturity. Okay? 30% is about that truth, the ultimate truth that you need to know. Because I think it's like the most fundamental a truth which is solution to all your search. And this is not something with that puzzle which is life is not easy to just kind of easy to solve. You need preparation. Okay? So therefore, one thing is, as Tushar is saying, that you have no way but to understand Mithya world. And Mithya world is governed by laws. It's not just a random world put together. Okay? And those laws are manifestation of Ishvara. This is where Ishvara comes. Okay? So the whole, there are a lot of people who are into what we call Neo-Vedanta. Okay? Neo-Vedanta and this is what we call traditional Vedanta. You need to understand what is the difference between Neo-Vedanta, which is what we call modern Vedanta, and traditional Vedanta. The Neo-Vedanta, first it talks about this awareness, right, which is free from everything, and it seems to be very close to what Vedanta is talking about. Okay? But if I just tell you that you are that consciousness which is free, where is the teaching? So it's over, one sentence and it's finished. You don't need to spend days and days and days and knowing about it, because they have no methodology to make you see this reality. Okay? So when we talk about this reality, we use a certain sophisticated methodology to make you see that fact. Okay? So we saw that we said Karya, Karana, Prakriya. Prakriyas are all the different methodologies that are used to make you see that reality about yourself. Okay? So we will see as we go on that there are, one is Karya, Karana, Prakriya, one is Adhyaropa, Apavada Prakriya, then Avasthatraya Prakriya, then Panchakosha Prakriya. Okay? These are all the different methodologies which are used in different Upanishads to make you see this reality about yourself. So that's why when a teacher is talking, the teacher is not just giving some loose ideas and vague statements to make you believe in something. The teacher is very deliberate as to what the teacher wants to communicate, and uses certain different methodologies to make you understand this fact about yourself. That is the first difference. Okay? We have a methodology to communicate, and the others just make this statement. That statement doesn't really mean anything. It's a floating statement. Okay? The second difference is we pay a lot of emphasis on human growth that is required, and part of that growth is understanding Ishvara and aligning one's life with the laws of Ishvara, without which this knowledge will not take place. Okay? So therefore, this is something which is totally lacking in this modern Vedanta, because they only say you are the whole. There is no discussion of Ishvara at all. There is no discussion about growth. So therefore, when people come to all these modern Vedanta teachers, the only questions they ask is, oh, I feel this sense of expansion. Have I become enlightened? All kinds of, a complete hallucination. I feel like this, is it enlightenment? And then the teacher will say, no, but think about who is the one who is feeling that. That is, so it's just kind of, it has become such a wasteful kind of an activity where people are just, in some kind of a trip, hallucinating. Okay? So this is where it's a very responsible teaching, where it really talks about growth. Okay? Growth, and in that growth there is Ishvara, because Ishvara is something which pervades the whole universe in form of laws, and you first need to understand how Ishvara operates, and you need to align your life with it. That is a preparation for understanding the final reality. So that's how it is different. Okay? So now we saw that the discussion of Ishvara, generally we think Ishvara itself is not essential. What you need to understand is the real nature of Ishvara. Because if you think that Ishvara is somebody who's an entity sitting away from the world, and it's a big entity and you're small and you're constantly at the mercy of Ishvara, okay, then that is not the right understanding of what Ishvara is. What Ishvara says about himself, right? When he says Mai, when Lord Krishna uses Mai, he is using a pronoun like in me. Okay? So in me or me, from me, all of this, but what he refers to is as Ishvara, and he explains what that Ishvara is. So when you understand Ishvara is a thread which joins all the beads together, you have to understand Ishvara as all the different laws which connect you and me. Okay? Now, then you may think that Ishvara is just the laws. Then in the next verse, Lord Krishna says, Rasoham apsu kaunteya. Okay? I am not only the laws which govern the different beads, I am the very beads. Okay? I am the very beads which are governed by the laws. Okay? So therefore, now you use again, this example to understand where is the presence of Ishvara here with reference to, because you are also one of the beings. So where is the presence of Ishvara? You are in you. Where? Okay. So this is where we appreciate. Let me also see if I have done mine. Okay. So, where do you appreciate Ishvara in you? So, one easiest way to appreciate Ishvara in you is, okay, that right now, how many neurons are ticking in my brain in order for me to understand or to listen to you, or for me to be able to talk about Gita. How many activities are going on in my brain? Countless activities are going on. Okay, have I sat and created all these different parts of the exactly? I have not created any of them. In fact, I don't even know. If you ask me to draw a brain, physical human brain, and find the, tell where is which part, I would not even know. Okay? So that means that there is an intelligence which has made that design, and not only made that design, it's making it work right now. And what? 1 year from now and 5 years from now. So that means that intelligence is something which is not you and me, within which my little intelligence works. My little capacity to know things, little capacity to act, little capacity to process things, So that means now the organ, every organ that you see, have you made it? Have you put together your kidney and your liver and your the intestines and your respiratory system and said, okay, now I want, have you? Okay, so that means there is an intelligence which has made that, and it is made in a way that human range is one type of range. Human eyes have one kind of range, an animal eye has a different type of a range. So that's why if an animal is seeing the same object, will see it differently because the way the eyes are programmed. Okay? So therefore, there is no such thing called this object as this object. It's only, it depends, what you see is dependent upon how much frequency your eyes can capture. There are so many things here in this room, bacteria and all kinds of things, and you can't see any of it because your eyes are not programmed to see them. So therefore, this is something who has created this. Okay? when you are interested in the truth, you cannot just ignore all this. Okay? So therefore, that intelligence which has also it's not only has created laws which connect you to me, but it is also the intelligence which has created every being right now, that not only it has created, but it is making it function. Because I'm not taking the air and said, okay, now you go here, your work is over, now you go there. What? It's already programmed in a way that it will go and it will do its job. When you are doing pranayama, you are trying to pay attention to this process which is going on, that you are absolutely oblivious to. You don't even pay attention to it. Okay? So therefore, in every second, there is this presence of Ishvara. So this is where our teacher was saying, according to the Vedic vision, Ishvara is not matter of belief. It is matter of understanding. Who can deny, right? If you say Ishvara is somewhere sitting out there and has created the universe, it's a belief. Who knows? Nobody knows if there is some Ishvara sitting there or not. It's entirely a belief. But if I show you that you are governed by this intelligence which is manifesting in many different laws, who can deny that? Who can deny that your body itself, every organ is something which is, it's an intelligent organ. It has a given purpose in the body, okay, and it performs its function. It's programmed in a way that the lifespan is this much, and it continues to do its job. And if you abuse it, then what? It will produce that result. All this arrangement is whose? This is what we call Ishvara. Who can deny the presence of Ishvara? So therefore, that means if you now, in the string, there are beads, in a necklace there are beads and there is a string. If both are Ishvara, then where is Ishvara? All pervasive. It's everywhere. Because there are objects and there are laws which govern the objects. When you cover both, what else is remaining? Nothing else is remaining. So therefore, you say Ishvara is all pervasive. Now, this idea of what is all pervasive, again you put it in a different way to increase, to make sure that your understanding is all encompassing. You don't miss out one given aspect of Ishvara. So therefore, now a different methodology is used to make you see what is the nature of Ishvara. Okay? So today what we will do is, now the nature of Ishvara is explained through one word called Om. Because if Ishvara is everything, if you have to describe Ishvara and if you try to write down everything, will you ever finish? You'll never finish, because things of the past, things of the present, things of the future, by the time you write one, things have already changed. So you can never describe Ishvara. So there is this one ingenious method that Vedas have found to explain what Ishvara is. Okay? So we will see the next two verses, they are brilliant. Through Om, it explains the nature of Ishvara. So, chapter 8, verse 11 and 13. Okay? So here it says, Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti Vishanti Yadyatayo Vitaragaha Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti Tatte Pradam Sangrahena Pravakshe Omityekaksharam Brahma Vyaharan Mamanusmaran Yav Prayatityajan Deham Sayati Paramam Gatim. We have to do these two verses together because they are connected. Okay, so you will chant after me. Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti Vishanti Yadyatayo Vitaragaha Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti तत्ते पदं संग्रहेण प्रवक्ष्ये ओमित्येकाक्षरं ब्रह्म व्याहरन् मामनुस्मरन् यः प्रयाति त्यजन् देहं स याति परमां गतिम्. Okay. So here he says that the whole pursuit of a truth is also pursuit of Ishvara. Okay. So here he says Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti. The Veda Vidaha, the people who know Vedas, they have what? They begin to relate to that one thing which is Ishvara. Okay. And they pursue that Ishvara, because in the pursuit of truth you cannot bypass Ishvara. So they try to understand Ishvara, and there is a very fundamental relationship with Ishvara, and that is what? Knowing, for the knowledge of which people devote their life, and that is Om. Okay. Now what is Om? Om has 3 letters, A, U and Ma. Okay. So according to the Vedic Sanskrit, not even Vedic, it's Sanskrit, the rules are that there are Sandhi rules. When 2 letters come together, A and U come together, it becomes O. That is a rule. Okay. And then O, and then Makara, so Om. Okay. So therefore A, U and Ma. Now how do you use these 3 letters to convey the nature of Ishvara? How? Okay. So therefore in Mandukya Upanishad there is a whole methodology which is a very ingenious methodology. Okay. Now that Om has to be A, U and Ma. You have to explain Ishvara and that as being everything. So therefore they use the word A, right? So A is used as what represents the entire physical universe. Okay. Entire physical universe, what does it include? Excellent, right? Very good, Rita. It is not just moving, it's not only just sentient but also insentient object. Okay. So that means it includes the stones, it includes the mountains, it includes the rivers, it includes every physical form, everything visible, right? So the entire physical universe, which is something which is known to me and unknown to me. Unknown to me because we don't even know how many. If I ask you exactly at a cosmic level how many galaxies are there in the universe, do you know? You don't know, right? And in one galaxy how many stars are there, do you know? You don't know. But you know that there are galaxies and there are planets there and there are stars there, and you know that, right? So the physical universe represents what? Living and non-living beings, known to me and unknown to me. Entire physical universe. Okay. Now we will see a little bit later, okay, and that also includes what? The physical universe includes what? My physical body. Okay. So when you look at Ishvara as the entire physical universe, you include everybody else's body and you also include your own body. Yes. Now if you have included, now that is all represented by Akara, then what else is remaining? If you have included the entire physical universe in Akara, what is represented by U? What else is remaining? No, in that physical universe we have already included all the physical forms which are known to me and unknown to me. Already we have included. What would Ma represent? Now, sorry, U. What would U represent? Excellent, right? Good, Paragi. It includes the entire subtle universe, right? Because what you see is only what? The physical. Okay? What you don't see is something which is what we call subtle. Okay? Now, this subtle, when we talk about subtle, okay, there are some the so-called spiritual circles, they think that the subtle universe includes what? All the spirits that are there, or all the colors, or all the kind of, chakras and all. When Vedas talk about subtle, they are much more objective. They don't talk about these kind of esoteric things which put you on a trip. Okay? It talks about, as Paragi says, your mind, for example. Okay? Why I say that the mind is included in the subtle and not in the physical? The brain is physical, but the capacity of mind to think is subtle, because even when a neurosurgeon is looking at your physical brain, they cannot figure out what you're thinking. That's why we call it subtle. Or when I'm looking at you, I can infer how you feel, but I don't know exactly what you're thinking. This is why it is called subtle. Please don't enter into some kind of an imagination and some kind of a spiritual, all these kind of, it is talking about something which are totally factual, right? Then what else is included in subtle? Excellent. All the different functions of your mind, your emotions, your feelings, your thinking capacity, your memory, your sense of I, all that is what, these are all the different functions of mind, and not only your mind, but a frog's mind, and a lion's mind, right? The entire subtle. We are not talking about you and me, okay? It includes my subtle and it includes everybody else's subtle. So exactly. So see, it may have, absolutely. The physical is something that is tangible, okay, and subtle is something which is not tangible. Not tangible to me. Okay. What is another thing which is not tangible? So it includes the capacity of your 5 sense organs. Your physical ear I can see, but how much you can hear, I don't know, by looking at your physical ear. That's why we call it subtle. Your physical nose I can see, but I don't know whether it has deviated septum or not, and how much it can properly breathe or not, I don't know, by looking at your physical. So that's why it's subtle. Okay. So all these different functions of your 5 sense organs are subtle. Okay. Then you have physical body, which includes, let's say, your arms. Now, when can you move it and when you cannot move it, I don't know. When you are paralytic, what happens? The physical arm is very much there, intact. But what it has lost is what? Its capacity to move, right? So that is also subtle. Exactly. So therefore, the capacity of, if we do Tattva Bodha, we will do all of this, right? The capacity of your 5 organs of action, the capacity of your 5 sense organs, the mind, 4 different functions of the mind, okay, and what we call Pancha Prana. What are the Pancha Prana? Your inhaling, exhaling, okay, digestive system, circulatory system, and the prana, exactly, okay, excretion, and also the prana which leaves your body when the body is declared no more alive. So these are what we call pranas. That's why when you see a live body not alive anymore, what is the physical difference you saw? For 1 minute it was alive, next minute it is not alive. Only thing that you physically see is that the person is not breathing anymore. But what left? What changed? Where something which was breathing made it not breathe anymore. What changed? This is subtle, right? So this is where we say the prana has stopped all these different, all the subtle functions, the capacity of your sense organs to move, your eyes to see, your brains to think, your prana to do all the digestive system and circulate, the whole thing stopped. Okay, so this is what we call subtle. That which is something which is not known to you, but it's very much there. You can't physically see it, but it is very much there, is what we call subtle. So that means Ishvara includes subtle of you, subtle of me, subtle of a fish, subtle of a frog, subtle of everything. Okay, so that means U represents the subtle universe. Right? Now, what then, when you have talked about Ishvara as physical and subtle, then what is Makara? Makara includes what we call Karana. Karana, the causal. Right? The causal, it means that, exactly, Karana Sharira. Karana Sharira of everyone, not only you and me. Right? It is the cause in a way that intelligence, why is it that her body is different from my body? It's not just random. There are causes which makes my body different from your body. Okay? So Ishvara includes what? The entire causal connection. Causal connection from where to where? From any object that you see today, right now, let's say that tree. Okay? It is connected to what? How is it existing today? It is connected to series of causes starting from what? Before, exactly, the seed. The seed itself came from where? Previous tree. So that means, absolutely, the whole chain of cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. Is it disconnected to that chain of cause and effect? No. When does this chain of cause and effect start? Exactly. Right? So that means we call it Anadi. Okay? Exactly. Anadi and Ananta, and I will explain to you a little bit, because good, you are very smart, so you are with me, because sometimes I see that people get overwhelmed and then I make it easier. But now that you are with me, I will make you understand a few more things. Okay? So, if you look at if you just look at what we call scientific model, okay, you can trace it back to what you can say is Big Bang, right? Because according to science, the whole universe came what Big Bang, right? So before there was, they don't know what was there, right? They don't know. But then there was something which triggered this whole big activity, and then it just kind of, we say that it is an expanding universe. Okay? So therefore, you can trace back this cause and effect till Big Bang. Right? So now, what is the difference between Vedic vision and science? Okay? Because what science says is, before Big Bang, they don't know. Okay? And in fact, they say the Planck's wall, or I don't know, Surya knows all these terms, I don't know exactly. So even as scientists, they can actually predict just few seconds after Big Bang, and then they can explain the whole thing. But just a little bit they cannot explain. Okay, that is called Planck's wall of time, or I don't know, something it is. It has some, I forgot the terminology. Okay, so therefore, but certainly before the Big Bang they have no idea. Okay, now what Vedanta says is, as Neeta and Tushar are saying, that this cause and effect is not just starting from Big Bang, but it is Anadi. Anadi means timeless. Okay? So therefore, you need to now understand what is the Vedic explanation about before Big Bang. Okay? So what we say is, before, there has to be something, because from nothing everything cannot come. Okay? So therefore, what we say is that there is something, and what is that something? So that something is what we call Ishvara. Ishvara, as what is Ishvara? It is Sarvajnaha Sarva Shaktiman Ishvara. Okay? That intelligence, Sarvajnaha, which has the capacity to do what? To manifest in form of this Jagat. Okay? So that means before the creation, what was there? Ishvara in its unmanifest form, without names and forms. When the universe manifests, what is there? Ishvara, that intelligence becomes manifest. That's why everywhere when I look in the creation, if I look from the standpoint of the laws, there is this intelligence, and if I look at every form which is governed by the laws, I also find that intelligence, which is making the form what it is. Okay? So before the creation, that intelligence was there, but not manifest.
The potentiality.
Exactly. That potentiality is what we call Maya. Wonderful, Raju. The Sanskrit terminology for that potentiality is Maya. But you yourself said it is difficult to understand, but it is something. It is. I will just give you an example so that you know. So that means what we say is that Ishvara, okay, is something which is there as intelligence, unmanifest potential. Okay. What is the event called creation? That same intelligence manifests as the universe. Different names and forms and different laws which govern different names and forms. So even now, when you look at the creation, not from your limited understanding, but from the Vedic vision, what is that? It is, you find that manifestation of intelligence everywhere. That's why it's not a belief. It puts the whole missing piece all together. Okay? And before it became before manifestation, it was unmanifest, and before it was unmanifest, it is what? Manifest. So this is what we call cyclic nature of the creation. Manifest, unmanifest. Manifest, unmanifest. This is why Tushar and Neeta are saying it is Anadi. Anadi means beginningless. So that means when this science is talking about beginning of the creation, they are talking about this cycle of creation. What we say is that before this cycle of creation, there were infinite other cycles of creation, because the nature of reality is what? Ishvara is, it becomes manifest and unmanifest. Manifest,
unmanifest form.
Yes.
Still holds the potential to be
Excellent.
manifest, and that potential is Maya.
Excellent. Excellent.
But there has to be a desire to manifest, right?
So all that now, I mean, just understand this part of Ishvara now. Okay. So so therefore, okay, good question. Okay. So that means what decides, when something becomes manifest and unmanifest. Okay, so therefore they say that the karmas, for example, I have so many unfinished karma, right? In the unmanifest, all the jivas, they don't have forms. Right now jivas have forms, different bodies and different mind. Okay, so in the unmanifest, that there are no forms, but the karmas are there. So therefore these karmas have to fructify. This is how there are cycles of creation. So in manifestation, all these karmas which were resolved, they still come back. You know, they are there, they come back and then they express. That's why we say jivatvam is anadi. Okay, your ignorance and your individuality is anadi. So when you come to Vedanta Shastra, you are addressing a problem which is what? Beginningless. It's a huge thing. What you are doing when you come to Gita Shastra or Vedanta Shastra is not an ordinary thing. You think you are just coming on Thursday to Vedanta class. What is going on in the grand scheme of things is mind-boggling. Okay? Right now, just understand this part, because if you bring in too many things, it will all become all very unfathomable and very confusing. Okay? So understand this part, that Ishvara, okay, is that intelligence which comes, what? Becomes manifest and unmanifest. Manifest and unmanifest. This is what we call anadi. Okay? So when we talk about beginning of this creation, we talk about only beginning of one cycle of this creation. There have been infinite number of cycles before.
Even before the Big Bang, there could have been another Big Bang.
Exactly,
Bang,
exactly.
How do you know?
This is what it says. This is what it says. Exactly, it should be. Absolutely. In fact, even science now says that it's more probable that the creation is cyclical in nature than linear in nature. Okay? Why? Linear. Okay? So generally, what happens is, let's analyze this. Good, I'm happy that you are with me, so I will analyze a little bit more. Depending upon every different class, I do it differently, depending upon the readiness of people. Okay? So now, let us look up to, or even now, for most of the people, the orientation is what? There is a linear creation. What does it mean? That it has one point, which is a beginning, and then what? End. This is what we call linear thinking, one line. It has a starting point and it has an end point. Okay? Now, if that was the case, then if I ask you, as I just asked you, right, that this tree, it is existing now, before, what was that? Seed. And the seed came from where? Tree. And the tree came from where? The seed. Okay? So now find me a beginning point. You can't find it. Okay? Chicken and egg, same problem. Okay? Father, son, same problem. Okay? So that means that when we construe the universe as linear, it contradicts our reason. Therefore, what the Vedic vision is far more in keeping the very fact. What we say is, you don't find the beginning because things are not linear, they are cyclical in nature. Okay. So therefore, before that, there was what we say, which is very true, manifest and unmanifest. Seed represents what? Unmanifest. In that seed, there is a beautiful Upanishad where a father is teaching his son, and he says, Chandogya Upanishad, okay, and he asks his son to bring the seed. And the son brings the seed. He says, you now, tamarind seed, tamarind tree seed. And he says, you break open this seed. What do you see? You don't see anything, right? And you now bring mango seed and you break open mango seed. What will you see? Nothing, right? But is there nothing? In that unmanifest seed, there is this whole program that if you sow it and if you water it, it will only give tamarind tree. It will not, exactly, it will not give a mango tree, a chiku tree. It will not give chiku fruit. How long it is going to survive, what kind of leaves that are there, it's all programmed. You don't see it. This is what we call cyclic nature, from manifest to unmanifest, manifest to unmanifest. Okay. In the mango tree, the whole mango, what in the seed, the entire tree is programmed. This is what we call intelligence. Okay. The nature of the universe is moving from manifest to unmanifest. Anadi. Anadi means beginningless. If you postulate even further, then from one manifestation of cycle of manifestation to another cycle of manifestation, and between the two there is unmanifest. Okay, so this is how the Vedic vision of the world is, that it is what? It is anadi, beginningless.
But why do these creates happen?
Yeah.
Manifest and unmanifest.
This is the nature of Ishvara. That is the nature of Ishvara. So it's a cycle, exactly. Cyclical nature of creation. One good way of understanding it is your own dream. Every night, right, you are there, okay. When you go to sleep, what happens? You are not, you become, yeah, but from the sleep you start to dream. What happens? One whole world becomes manifest. Dream time, dream space, dream mountains, dream rivers, dream characters, the whole thing comes into manifestation. When the dream is over, is everything gone? No, you are there. Okay, then next night, again the dream world comes into manifestation. So the dream world becomes what? Manifest, unmanifest, manifest, unmanifest. But who? The you is always there. So with reference to the entire creation, Ishvara as intelligence, Sarvajnaha, Sarvashaktiman, what? Intelligence which has the potential to manifest as whole Jagat is something which is always there. Jagat becomes manifest and unmanifest. What is the proof that Ishvara is something which is there? If when the Jagat is manifest, if you don't find intelligence, then it's a belief. But when I look into the present universe, what I find, if I use the previous two verses of Gita which says I am the beads and I am also the string that connects the beads, that intelligence is something which you find everywhere. So therefore, you can see that even now when the Jagat is manifest, intelligence is all pervading. When the Jagat is not manifest, that intelligence is in potential form. Makes perfect sense. Okay, this is what we call Ishvara. And that's why Ishvara has to precede the universe. The intelligence has to precede the creation. That intelligence in unmanifest form precedes what? Manifestation into forms. The whole puzzle that science has is solved when you use Vedic model. All the questions which are unanswered, they become answered. Find one logical flaw in this statement. That's why when quantum physicists listen to Vedanta, they are in awe. Okay? Because it is talking about something so fundamental and so undeniable. The Vedic vision of Ishvara is incredible. So, Makara stands for the entire causal, what, from beginningless, causes within causes, within causes, within causes, trace it back to the beginning of this cycle of creation, then what? The previous cycle, then previous cycle, then previous cycle. The whole thing is connected. So in a simple way, as Rajiv was asking the question, right, when let's say this whole creation is become unmanifest, then what happens is that a jiva, if the knowledge is not known yet, the account, what, sanchita karma still remain, right, all the karmas which are in my account, but they have not yet got what, the physical and subtle, exactly. So it has not yet transformed into a physical body and subtle body through which you can go through your karma, right? So that is what we call the unmanifest. But the accounts are still there, so you need to have a second cycle of creation in order for those jivas to what, go through, exhaust, exactly, absolutely. And this is why, and that cycle goes on and on and on until in one lifetime one jiva asks this question, who am I? So what you are getting freed from is anadi cycle of birth and death by asking this question about reality. It's not ordinary. Okay, so therefore this makara includes all the past causes from anadi. This is Ishvara. So this is why Ishvara is that intelligence which what, becomes manifest, okay, and then it connects the causal, subtle and the physical, gross. When all three are there, there is this intelligence. When three are not there, intelligence is in its potential form. In its potential form, where the physical forms and subtle forms have not yet come. Not yet. And this is something that you can even observe right now. Okay, these cycles of manifest and unmanifest happen at every level. Okay, the time. By the time I finish the word time, what, the time which was existent then is gone. The time has, this time has come. By the time I finish the sentence, that time is gone. Manifest, unmanifest, manifest, unmanifest. Your body at a cellular level. Cells come every day. How many cells go and new cells come? Manifest, unmanifest. Your karma. Morning there is some karma which come into manifestation. You don't know what evening is going to be like. Manifest, unmanifest. What was manifest in the morning has become unmanifest. What is unmanifest now will become manifest in the afternoon. Any which way you look at the universe, it will show you there is this activity, manifest, unmanifest, manifest, unmanifest, happening all the time. You have no way to deny what way. It is just extrapolating the same phenomena which is occurring now. If it did not occur now, then it would be a belief. But it happens even now, right? Intelligence is now. Manifest, unmanifest is now. The cyclical nature that you can't find the beginning is now. Exactly. It's a micro happening. Very good, Nita. It's a micro happening, and then there is, at the macro level, the same thing is happening. Perfect. So Ishvara is that. Okay. Akara, Ukara and Makara. Akara stands for the entire physical universe, which includes my physical body. Ukara represents what? All the subtle universe, which includes my subtle functions. Makara represents all the causes, right? Causes within which are anadi, which makes your existence today at Paragi possible. You don't know which are the causes, infinite number of causes, which makes you Rupa, which makes me Nima. Causes within causes within causes, unfathomable. Anadi. And which makes us interact and which makes us have experiences. Different types of experiences of pleasure and pain with different individuals, with different circumstances. Okay, so this whole thing, the whole thing is Ishvara. Imagine now you live in this world with this awareness. Before, how did you live in this world? Huh? Me, this little one,
More related to the body now.
more related to just one given body and one given mind, not knowing what is Ishvara, not knowing that the whole thing is manifestation of that Ishvara, not knowing that you and me are connected to series of causes of which we don't know how, which are those causes and how they are supposed to manifest. Okay? Once you have awareness of this reality, will you not change in the way you interact with the universe? A very fundamental change, very significant change. Okay? Because it will change your very deep assumptions about the nature of your existence. Okay? Whether you see your existence as meaningless or meaningful, whether you see yourself as a victim of things or not. Okay? Whether you think you are just, this inadequate, struggling person, or you think that you are what? Manifestation of divinity. Very, it's a complete shift at a very deep level of your psyche. Sorry? Yeah. Okay. Gita works. People come to Gita because they have a little problem with their maid or whatever, and that is occupying their whole mind. Right? And what Bhagavad Gita is talking at a level which is like so fundamental. But if your mind is not ready, you will say, but how does it help me to deal with my maid's problem? It gives you a whole new infrastructure to position yourself, re-look at the purpose of life, re-look at the realities of life, and what? Do what needs to be done. Totally new paradigm. It's a total paradigm shift. It's too important. Because without which your life is, as Nita says, mindlessly going and doing things. And barely coping with difficulties. And entangling yourself further. Okay, so therefore, Om is a very significant. It's not something which is academic. Now, what do you understand Om as? Everything is Ishvara. Now, imagine that you need to, if you need to prepare yourself for this knowledge, you need to Okay, align yourself, your decision making with what? The knowledge of presence of Ishvara. How will you do it? When you perform an action, what do? Understand what? Ishvara as manifesting as law of dharma. Law of dharma. Okay. When the results come, you understand that I don't control the results. Ishvara as law of karma gives me the result that somehow is following what? The cause and effect. So many laws of which I am not aware. So even
When you receive that, you think of it as prasad.
excellent, right? Because you don't conclude, when things don't happen your way, you don't conclude that world is unfair, that I am a victim. You only say that hey, there are laws and that the way they work, the causes within causes within causes, they're unfathomable. Okay, so within that, if it is not something that I want, I try to understand a little bit of how these laws work and align my buddhi and try. It's not like, oh, because these laws are working, I'm just sitting and I'm just kind of, letting them work. No, because
Accept whatever is happening.
exactly, absolutely. So that means if these are how the laws work, then use your free will to what? Position yourself in a way that the laws what? Work for you. Absolutely. That is what we call intelligent living. Use Ishvara as your accomplice. As your accomplice. It is like a boatman who's riding a boat. He is totally unaware of the sun and the moon and how it affects the current and which direction is the current and how it will take your boat. How effective is this boatman in going and reaching a shore? Clueless.
Maybe if I'm wanting something to happen and making an effort, which is not. So I'm thinking the laws are like this is why it's not happening. This is how it's supposed to be.
No, not at all. Right? This is the story that we make. What we are saying is, if things did not happen my way, you still have your free will. Okay? So that means you have to use your free will to say, what kept me from having this, right? How can I work? Generally what happens is that you enter into this, kind of I'm not good, or this person did this. Instead of doing that, you said, now, which are the variables? Okay. Which are the variables that I need to incorporate in my decision making to improve my chances of getting this? This is what we call working with Ishvara. Because the very fact that you get into this emotional response, it actually keeps you from examining it. That what constructively can I do to actually get what I want?
And it need not happen that way.
And it still may not happen that way. But you're constantly on a proactive mode. You're in a proactive mode and not loading your individuality. See, what makes you heavy as a person is all the burden of things that did not happen your way. You're carrying the load because you haven't understood why. And you have either blamed the world or blamed yourself. And that is the burden that everybody is carrying within themselves. So when this understanding takes place, you release that load. The more you release the load, the more proactive you become in identifying which are the variables that you need to work on to get what you want.
And also recognize and appreciate what has happened in your life.
Absolutely. And at the same time, give up this illusion of control. As Tushar says, you understand that there are many things which are not governed by me. So I can't totally control, and at the same time I have my free will. So you use your free will. Okay? But without that illusion of when I use my free will, everything will work according to my wishes. No. Then there is freedom. Then there is a right assessment of how things are. Then there is less burden. And then pray. Excellent. Okay. Rita is absolutely right. Okay, you pray because you need success. Nobody can say I'm indifferent to success. Everybody wants, everybody wants things to go their way. Nobody doesn't want things to go their way. That's a truth. Okay, but your capacity to what? First know all the variables and to get them all aligned in your favor is limited. So you do what you can, and you, for the unknown over which you have no control, you have only one action, and that is your prayer. You use your free will and you ask for help to that Ishvara which is all present, constantly working through you, and say, I would like for this to be done. If there are any obstacles, please take care of that. That is an action, it will produce a result. That result will work in conjunction with all the other variables and produce. It will change the configuration. This is what we call smart living. Knowing the presence of Ishvara. Knowing the laws, and also for things that are unknown, use your understanding of Ishvara and pray. Use your free will. This is how you give up burdens and you are proactive all the way. Okay. So this is what we say the practical understanding of what is Ishvara. Also, the practical understanding of Ishvara also means that your whole emotional life is something which is governed within laws of psychology. Okay. So certain amount of whatever that we are all holding on to cannot be changed overnight. They follow the laws of psychology. That's when you begin to just nurture yourself rather than judge yourself. One of the very common things that people do is, when they think that Gita means you are like from one day to the next you are transformed. Okay? And many people ask this question that, oh my God, you are going to Gita class and you're still getting angry, right? So as though anger will just disappear the very next day because you've gone to. There is no class without Rajiv and Namrata story. So, it follows psychological order, okay? And you have to learn to work within this order. Don't resist your emotions. Work with them. Gain certain mastery over them. Ask for help. Pray when you feel you are helpless. This is how you make Ishvara your accomplice. Okay, so this is the understanding of Om as Ishvara. Okay, now when you understand Ishvara as everything, now you have to further go. See how Gita takes you from one step to the other. There is, if you are a thinking person, you will have one more problem. The problem is that before I thought that my little sadness is my sadness, okay? My little anger is my anger. Okay? Now you've understood Ishvara as everything, okay? And Ishvara is everything means Ishvara has what? Problem of my anger, your sadness, his depression, that means Ishvara is loaded with what? All the compounded problems, exactly. Compounded problems of the world get loaded onto Ishvara because Ishvara is everything. Okay, so what is the answer to that? We will see in the next class. Okay, so this is how the analytical thinking, how you are taken from one step to the other step in understanding of Ishvara. This is what we call prakriya. Prakriya means that you use a methodology to first take you to this step, then to the next, then to the next, so that your understanding of Ishvara is totally clear. Okay, So we'll see it in the next class. Yeah. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.